You've been laid off and you feel stuck. You're seeing influencers push OnlyFans or seeking arrangements as quick fixes. But here's an alternative. Auto repair can actually change your life. I'm reacting to a video about Desiree Hill, a former nurse who learned auto repair on YouTube and now runs a shop that's earning over $440,000 per year. Many people still underestimate how realistic a career change into auto repair could be. Some still believe it's too technical. Her story proves auto repair is within reach if you work for it. All you need are clear steps and real talk. If you find value in real career advice, hit like and subscribe. Share this with friends who need an alternative to the usual bad advice. Let's break down this video and show you a path that doesn't rely on hosting explicit content or dating apps.
This is Crowns Corner Mechanics. I built a team that we can cover everything. I can tell you that our average of cars that are here being worked on at a time right now are in the 40s. There's people that walk in here and I walk out and I'm like, hi, my name is Desiree, I'm the owner. When they go to ask me a question, they tell me what the issue is. Then I take them 20 steps further, break it down for them to the next question. Upstreams. My name is Desiree Hill. I'm 39 years old and I learned how to flip cars, then fix them. And I own and manage my own auto repair shop.
Thanks to CNBC Make It for actually creating this video. I wish I could bring a lot more entertaining and insightful videos just like this one with female mechanics breaking into the mold. But let's continue.
We do all changes, brake pads, engine replacement, engine rebuilds, transmission replacements, vintage cars. We can do anything you want. I handle the telephone calls, the billing, the emails, the text messages. I keep us organized. I keep the customers coming in. I secure.
5 employees and they work 175
I
to
can
200
tell you
cars.
that our average of cars that are here being worked on at a time right now are in the 40s, which I never thought we would get to this point. Your cam came in. So even get to that at all.
She stresses learning by doing, as she says in the video, she has no prior experience. She used free resources. She watched 5 to 10 videos per week. She took notes. She practiced on her own vehicle and she turned failures into lessons. And that lies in sharp contrast to influencers telling women to join OnlyFans or sign up for sugar dating sites. Those paths often ask you to risk safety, privacy, and respect. In exchange, they promise easy cash, yet you lose control over your image and face and stigma. So instead, auto repair gives you the skills you can use anywhere. You can learn how to diagnose issues. You can fix brakes, engines, or electronics. You get respect in a male-dominated field. You build confidence.
After about 10 years of being in the medical field, I had moved up to oncology, which is a pretty rough field to be in. Long hours. It was 3 hours of commuting in Atlanta traffic every day, and I never saw my children, so it really was taking a toll.
2018, after her divorce, she sought extra income for her family. She decided to buy, repair, and resell rundown cars.
Everybody needs transportation. That's never going to stop, no matter what. And I knew it was something that I could spend a very small amount on.
She bought a used truck for $1,200 and repaired it herself despite having no prior auto experience.
The first time that we came across an issue, and I said, okay, let me Google, let me YouTube and see the symptoms that are going on with this vehicle, what the probable causes could be. Let's see if it's part for them and switch it out. And it happened, the throttle body, and we just fixed this vehicle with a $60 part. I didn't have to pay anybody else to do it. It was almost like a high, I swear. It was beautiful. I wanted to keep doing it. This time we can figure out and fix.
She kept working full-time in healthcare while flipping and selling cars.
And all set for bed, and then I went out in the carport and started working on the vehicles. And it sometimes lasts till 2, 3 in the morning.
She bought, repaired, and sold 38 cars.
What's up? So today we are doing an alternator swap on a 2006 Cadillac DTS. And to do that, you have to take all this apart. I was recording everything for me. Look what I did. It wasn't even to try to be big on social media. Because it was different back then.
120,000 TikTok subscribers while repairing and recording the cars. Now, if you've been laid off, because that's basically what's happening now in 2025, picture this. You invest a few $1,000s in tools and parts. You rent a small bay or you can work from home. You study online. Within months, you can handle oil changes, fluid flushes, or brake jobs. And those jobs pay on average between $50 to $100 per hour in North America. You might start at US about $20 per hour in your local markets. In Europe or Asia, pay scales vary, but skills stay the same. Even part-time, you can earn enough to cover rent and bills. You can grow from there. Desiree's community needed affordable, honest service, and she undercut big shops by 10 to 20% without cutting corners. She used digital marketing, Instagram and TikTok you're seeing here, to show before and after clips. Her fees stayed fair. She didn't sugarcoat tough moments. In early months, she misdiagnosed a timing chain and she lost money and spent late nights fixing it. That's how you actually learn. But that experience taught her about engine design. She learned to spot wear signs on camshafts, and she emphasizes networking. She linked with local tow services.
Yeah, this isn't so bad. I get to just get the vehicle, switch out the part, and the vehicle goes. Now I don't have to worry about, oh, am I going to sell this vehicle? And I didn't want to keep having cars in my yard anymore. I didn't feel like fixing them and selling them because I was already doing so much out in the public. I felt at that time I was past the need for that. Home and fix more cars to come home. So I had a mobile customer. It was getting harder for me to come to her because I was growing so much and we were doing business out of the Bay. So I was like, I'm really liking having a little space, really want a brick and mortar. One day she's like, how much do you think it would take you to get in a building? I don't know, 10, 20 grand? I'm telling you, if you need it, I will let you borrow it. She was dead serious. We wrote up an entire 3-year contract. She wrote me a check. If it wasn't for that lady right there, I wouldn't have this building.
She opened Crown Corner in her current location in 2023 and she repaid the loan 18 months after.
Just wipe me out real quick.
People are still struggling to repay their student loans even 10, 15, 20 years after. And with this new business, she offered roadside assistance. She built trust. Word of mouth drove half her business.
There are people that walk into my shop that they don't know they haven't seen me on social media. I will walk out and I'm like, hi, my name is Desiree, I'm the owner. And then when they go to ask me a question, they tell me what the issue is. Then I take them 20 steps further and break it down for them before they can even get to the next question. I have to wow them with my knowledge every time. I have to prove myself every time I open my mouth. I not only have a family at home, I have a family here.
Sons working in the garage getting their hands dirty. Because, believe it or not, a lot of young men today don't even know how to change the tire on a car. And it's just sad because the lack of men within the household. But I must commend her on actually taking the steps forward and bringing the family into the business, because a lot of businesses, it's not like back in the days when the father will set up the business and hand it down to the son and then to the grandson and then the great-grandson, because most legacy businesses you're seeing today were actually started by families, the great-grandfather all the way down to the current children.
A family here. And I have a family with my customers. A blast. But we have so much fun. And I think that's the success.
But let's compare her success to a typical joint OnlyFans pitch. Influencers, they glamorize easy money. They show screenshots of account balances. They say, post one set of photos, make $2,000 overnight. They hide the algorithm, the fees, and account bans. They don't show you when you lose thousands in a day. They don't show you the psychological toll of daily objectification. They don't talk about balancing personal life with constant fan demands. Those upsides vanish if your account drops in views or a payment processor blocks you. Influencers do something similar. They tell you to trade companionship for about $3,000 a month, and they promise free cars, trips, and gifts. They rarely mention predators, scams, or legal gray areas. Your shop can follow her model. You start lean, buy used lifts from auctions, shop tools online, use free online manuals from manufacturers. If you need a digital scan tool, consider a mid-range unit about $200 to $300. Now, let's talk about the numbers. Suppose you charge $80 per hour in your city. If you work 40 hours per week, gross revenue might hit about $13 per month. Deduct rent, utilities, insurance, say about $4,000 per month, and deduct parts and tools. That will cost you about $2,000 per month. You net about $7,000. That's $84,000 for the year annually. And within 2 years, you can reinvest in a bigger space or hire staff. In this video, Crown's Corner Mechanic run with gross revenue close to $550,000 when factoring cost. Net sits at about $440,000 and they profit 80%. That's possible with lean operations and honest pricing. Compare that to an influencer path. OnlyFans models might gross $50,000 per month in a viral month, but platform fees and taxes cut that to about $30,000. Account bans or fan fatigue can drop income to about $2,000 per month, and that's unstable. With auto repair, demand remains. Cars still break down. You control your schedule and clientele. You can also gain transferable skills. If you later move cities, you can work at a dealership or start a mobile repair service. Your skill set holds value globally. A brake job in Berlin uses the same principle as one in Bangkok. If you lack funds, you rent a bay, you start mobile, carry a small toolbox in your car, offer basic services, battery jumps, oil top-ups, tire rotation, use social media to post short how-to clips. Now, let's address a common objection. Desiree started with zero. She says in the video, a car is just a collection of parts and follow predictable rules. She breaks down engine basics in simple terms. 4-stroke cycle, spark, fuel mix. You can learn that in about a weekend of reading. Next, consider childcare. She's a single mom in her video, and she shares how she scheduled a school drop-off before the shop opens. She closed on weekends. Now, she found a local teen to run the bay for simple jobs while she focused on complex work. And that's a reminder. Adapt. If childcare costs $300 per month, you have to factor that in. Maybe you start evenings and weekends until you can hire help. Also, you notice she didn't discuss licensing or certification. In some regions, you need to pass safety exams or register a business. If you live in Ontario, Canada, you need a motor vehicle repair safety certificate. In the UK, no formal license is required, but signage and insurance actually matters. Research local regulations. That gap aside, her core message still holds. You can learn mostly for free, then invest in tools as you earn. Let's tie back the wrong advice we see online. Influencers selling quick fixes often copy-paste the same steps. Sign up, post content, cash in. They skip the overhead. They don't account for taxes or mental health toll. Now, seeking arrangement advice poses dangers. It turns relationships into transactions. It exposes you to predators. You risk legal issues. Those influencers rarely show you details of arrangement agreements. They skip the fine print. Compared to auto repair, if you undercharge half the time, you still earn respectable wages. If you overcharge, you lose trust. Your reputation hinges on honest work. And that's a lesson you learn fast. Desiree also explains how she faced gender bias. And she says in the beginning, people assumed I was just a receptionist. And she then she invited them to watch her work. That's a powerful tactic. Show, don't tell. Desiree videos shows her reviewing overhead cost on a whiteboard, rent, utilities, payroll, parts, and that's basic budgeting. Basic budgeting is very important, and she aims for a 20% profit margin on parts. She bulk buys oils and filters to cut costs, and your budget might start even smaller. Consider working from a home garage. Check local zoning laws. If you live in a suburban area, you might get a work permit on up to 2 cars per week. We can't go forward without a little bit of critique. It barely touches on the emotional stress, and she mentions late nights and juggling the kids. But it glosses over burnout. A 40-hour work week with overtime, that can actually drain you. You need boundaries. Maybe schedule 1 day off weekly. She also skips discussion about continuing education. Cars evolved. Electric vehicles actually differ, and you need to learn battery pack diagnostics. So plan to spend about $500 annually on training. Download service manuals. Watch EV-specific tutorials. Her shop handles conventional cars, not electric vehicles, and she knows to refer EVs to specialists. And that honesty avoids costly mistakes. If you plan to work on EVs, consider training on high voltage safety. She doesn't cover marketing beyond social media. She could have mentioned local ads or flyers in the community centers, and that could bring on even more older customers. Now, let's tie it back to you. If you've been laid off, you might feel lost. You might see flashy get-rich schemes and think, that's my only path. But Desiree's story right here shows a grounded approach. You invest sweat equity. You learn skills. You earn respect. A note on if you can handle 4 cars per day initially, you'll earn about $300 to $400 daily. And multiply by 25 days and you hit $7,500 to $10,000 gross monthly. And that scales very fast. Time commitment matters. She works 10-hour days and you might start with 8. Factor in admin task, billing, ordering parts, customer calls. Admin eats about 20% of your day unless you hire help. If you hire someone at minimum wage, you offload the routine task, and that frees you to focus on diagnostics or marketing. Her video shows her teaching junior mechanics on brake bleeding, and she guides them through the process. The junior mechanics are actually her sons. Mentorship multiplies impact. When you teach someone, you clarify your own thinking. I mentioned I underestimated this part earlier. As Desiree shows, women dominate trust in many markets. In the United States, women hold about 75% of driver's license. Women prefer mechanics who actually speak clearly to them. If you worry about strength to lift parts, modern tools can help. Use hydraulic lifts to raise cars. Pneumatic wrenches cut bolts. Mechanics use ergonomics. You don't need to bench press 50 kilograms to replace a transmission. You need technique. What about startup capital? With about $3,000, you can start even smaller. If you gather old tools, borrow a friend's garage, you could spend just about $1,000 on essentials. Now, let's break down a simple startup budget. Hydraulic lift, about $500, secondhand. Floor jack and stands, $200. Basic tool sets, about $100. Diagnostic scanner, $200. Oil drain pan and funnels, $50. Consumables, which is gloves and rags, $50. Shop signage and branding, $200. Initial parts to stock, filters, fluids, about $300. So you're looking at a total of $1,600. That $1,600 can come from savings or a microloan. You can repay that in a month if you complete just about 20 oil changes at $80 each. Then you can invest in staff training. Desiree sends mechanics to automotive technical colleges. She budgets about $500 per person per year, and that investment pays off in fewer comebacks and higher customer satisfaction. Your next step is to research local automotive grants. Some regions offer small business grants for trades. In Canada, Nova Scotia offers up to $10,000 for women entrepreneurship in skilled trades. Let's critique the video ending. It ends on a high note. She says, I never look back, but it fails to address future challenges: inflation, supply chain issues, rising property costs, steel and tire prices, they spike sometimes, and that eats into margins. To guard against that, you have to build relationships with multiple part suppliers. Negotiate net 30 terms. Stock high turnover items when prices dip, and maybe explore bulk buys with other local shops. Also, electric and hybrid cars gain market share. You need to learn about regenerative braking, battery module swaps, and inverter diagnostics. Plan to spend time on EV safety, high voltage gloves, and insulated tools. Despite gaps, Desiree videos gives you a clear blueprint. Learn auto repair online, invest in tools, serve your community honestly. And that beats the instability of content platforms or dating sites. If you follow bad advice from influencers pushing OnlyFans or seeking arrangement, you risk your dignity and privacy. You face theft, scams, and public shaming. There are so many women, especially here on YouTube and other podcast platforms, encouraging women to hustle men or become online prostitutes. The Sprinkle Lady and Call Me Daddy podcast, they come to mind. There is a hierarchy to prostitution. There are the streetwalkers. Then there's the online prostitutes who do call-in and out calls. Then there are the strippers in the clubs. Then the newly minted OnlyFans, who have various categories for different price levels and monthly subscriptions. Then at the top of the list are the sugar babies. They are the ones you'll see accompanying older men to fancy social events. There are thousands of videos online with influencers teaching young girls how to actually maneuver each of these professions. Auto repair gives you a trade. You solved real problems and build a business you can own for life. In my previous take, sometimes we will underestimate how women thrive in male-dominated trades. What we do is need more women to actually get into a lot of the male-dominated trades. That's the only way you can get out of your comfort zone. Women account for 47% of drivers worldwide. Women need mechanics they can trust. That gap is an opportunity. If you're watching this, believe you can learn. You don't need a 4-year degree. You need grit and a plan. Desiree's story proves that auto repair can be a lifeline after a layoff. It offers stability, respect, and room to grow. You don't have to risk your safety or privacy on questionable platforms. Choose skill, choose independence. Start small, learn fast, and build your own shop. If you want more real advice, subscribe now, drop a comment with questions. Let's build a community of women who fix cars for a living. We want to see more of that. Thank you for watching, and remember, you can turn wrenches that change your life. I will catch you in the next episode.